Is it possible that the thing that most divides our loyalties and passion is what can inspire us all to work together? For centuries, sports has played a major role in defining the civic identity of America. Today, they hold the power and the ability to transform lives.
We're not looking for big league players, we're looking for big league people.
Ask the city of Los Angeles, who invested their profits from the 1984 Olympic Games in youth sports programs in the inner cities. Two sisters from Compton picked up a tennis racket. The rest is history. Sports allow an inspirational moment.
Oh, wow, what a moment.
To ignite a battle to find a cure.
We have raised a little over $3 million.
They provide life lessons and hope, and the benefits of working together for the greater good. Most of all, sports are one of the few remaining methods we have to reach at-risk youth for positive social change. That is the power of sports.
Hello and welcome to The Power of Sports, presented by Delaware Life. I'm your host, Rick Horrow. Power of Sports is all about how teams, leagues, players, and communities are using power of sports to promote positive social change, making a difference in the lives of others. Each month, we'll visit a city in the U.S. and tell its story with the goal of inspiring our viewers and maybe even sparking the growth of other programs across the country. This week, we're in Oklahoma City, where the power of sports has literally transformed the identity of this community over the past 3 decades. Bricktown Ballpark, right here at the intersection of Mickey Mantle and Johnny Bench Drive, was a big part of that renaissance. First, at each stop, we like to take a quick trip around town and feature what initiatives teams are supporting in a segment we call City Pulse. Let's start right here at Bricktown, where the Oklahoma City Dodgers launched the MVP program this year. The educational tool for 3rd and 4th graders combines STEM education and baseball with the goal of making more kids interested in science and math.
We learned through a number of different resources that 3rd and 4th grade is a time period that you can either get a student hooked, or if they're not by the time they leave the 4th grade, then perhaps it's going to be really challenging down the line to get them to have a passion for science and math. And so that's why we chose that age group to really focus on.
Teachers are provided all of the materials needed for the program for free, and 5 students from each classroom are given a once-in-a-lifetime experience at a Dodgers game as a reward. Over 1,000 students in 40 classrooms within Oklahoma Public Schools were part of the program this year.
We've really been able to pull out all these wonderful success stories that teachers are telling us how a student, moved from A to B in their progress. Just the mere emphasis placed on science and math, they understood. My teacher really wanted us to focus on this for this week, and I decided to buckle down because the Dodgers and going to a game really was going to be something that was important to me. And so for the first time, they really focused on their project that week.
The OKC Energy FC Soccer Club of the United Soccer League doubles their roster every year by adding some sidekicks.
Our motto is that soccer is the game for everyone. And so we take 18 athletes with some special challenges in life and take them on kind of a year-long journey. They sign an official contract with the club, and then they're partnered up with one of our professional athletes. It's really more about the relationship that's formed between the player and the athlete, and they create really a neat bond.
Who's your favorite soccer player for the Energy? Me! I am. Yeah! I'm all about that. That's all you need.
The Sidekicks program is a year-long effort with as many as 4 events for the players and their athletes throughout the year. But many of the relationships build beyond those events.
Probably the neatest story was from a couple of years back where one of our players had gone to the high school and invited his sidekick to prom to be their date to it. So it takes on a whole life of its own. That's the City Pulse of Oklahoma City. When we come back, we'll tell you a remarkable story of how sports transformed a downtown area where only a few hundred people lived into millions rising together to transform an entire community.
Welcome to Power Sports. I'm Dan Towers, CEO of Group 1001. Along with our Delaware Life team, we're excited to help share stories of people and organizations who are using sports to connect communities and create opportunities for kids to join teams and benefit from the life lessons learned on the field, court, and track. The power of sports to transform lives is real. I see it all across our great country. Thanks to all who give so much for so many.
Welcome back to Power of Sports, presented by Delaware Life. I'm Rick Horrow. Well, it's no coincidence we started the show right here in Oklahoma City. This is a place that's become one of the best cities to live and work in America, largely because of sports, and 3 decades of mayors right here at City Hall who had a great vision of what the city could become.
Let's start with a flashback to the 1980s, more specifically, Oklahoma City in the 1980s. Oklahoma City State Senator David Holt described it as less of a city and more of just a place where people happened to live.
Nothing ever happened in Oklahoma City, and young people are acutely aware of that, and that's why we lost a whole generation to Dallas, Houston, or LA or New York for the more adventurous.
25 years ago, you could have shot a cannon down here and you wouldn't have hurt anybody.
We had a downtown that was devoid of any activity. Oklahoma City needed a shot in the arm.
Ron Norick was elected mayor of Oklahoma City in 1987 at the age of 45. His vision was to create a better quality of life for the city by stimulating its growth.
I knew it would be good, but I had no idea that it would do this.
His 1993 proposal was called MAPS, short for Metropolitan Area Projects. Of the 9 projects on the first list, 4 had either direct or indirect ties to sports.
When you talk about quality of life, the biggest pieces were the sports.
But first, voters had to approve a 5-year 1-cent sales tax to foot the bill in a city that had a tradition of rejecting these types of proposals.
People would tell me, well, I don't go to the ballpark, or I don't want to go to the ballet, or I don't want to go to the library, or whatever it was, and I'd always come back with the question, but maybe your kids or your grandkids would, and you want them staying around, don't you?
MAPS passed, and its legacy projects have and continue to transform the city. Bricktown Ballpark opened in 1998, and the area around it developed into a social hub of activity in the city.
It was like a light bulb went off in the collective minds of the citizens of Oklahoma City. They'd been waiting so long for something really good to happen. With the ballpark, there was a semblance that you might actually someday start inviting your family and friends from other parts of the country to come see this place, because we knew there was a lot more to come.
After Hurricane Katrina ripped through New Orleans in 2005, the NBA's Hornets needed a temporary home, and the brand new MAPS-funded Ford Center was ready and waiting. The revived sports fans in the city quickly proved they were a big league town. On the first day of season ticket sales, deposits were placed on 5,000 orders. In all, 11,500 season tickets would be sold for a team that's still technically called another city home.
No city in America has ever reacted for a professional sports team like our city reacted for that team. We had more million-dollar sponsors than the rest of the league combined.
The pinnacle of the influence of the 1993 MAPS projects came in 2008, when it was announced that one of the NBA's premier franchises, the Seattle Supersonics, were moving to Oklahoma City, leaving an area with double the metro population. The Oklahoma City Thunder have become the pride of the city ever since.
Do you ever really think that you'd get an NBA team in town?
No. The timing was right. Our city was right. We were hungry. Every game sold out. I mean, it's sold out every time.
I have a son now, he's 7. I think about this all the time. He's got a whole wall covered in Sports Illustrated with Thunder covers, you know. I mean, the idea
hard
that,
to believe years ago.
Right. Exactly. My childhood, the idea that Oklahoma City would be on the cover of Sports Illustrated. You know, we'd be excited if we'd be in the faces in the crowd section or something. You know, to be on the cover of Sports Illustrated 10 times, enough that you could fill my son's wall, it's beyond our wildest dreams.
It gave us that major league connotation. We'd been a minor league city for 116 years. We became major league, and then we lived up to it.
Is the reason why MAPS was so successful the fact that this is a multi-generational community that really did believe in the future? Was it the trust in politicians in an environment where it's so difficult to do that? Was it the makeup of the projects? Was it all of that?
All of that, yeah. It's been a brilliant blueprint, and we're still following it here in Oklahoma City 25 years later.
That's the story about how the power of sports made Oklahoma City what it is today. Up next, we feature an organization who develops sports facilities to help at-risk kids and promote positive social change. We'll introduce you to the work of Fields and Futures next on Power of Sports, presented by Delaware Life.
The moment is upon us. After months of preparation, the largest Division II league in the world is set to kick off. 30 teams will fight, driven by the love of their fans, showcasing unbelievable skill, creating unforgettable moments. And at the end of it all, only one team shall rise as the USL Cup champion.
We've already told the story of how sports has had a profound impact on Oklahoma City. But sports-related programs continue to make a difference throughout the community. We'd like to introduce you to Fields and Futures, a nonprofit created several years ago to grow participation in sports in Oklahoma City's largest school district by rebuilding 42 athletic fields. The idea is to create new opportunities for kids to join teams and experience the benefits of athletics. Fields like this one at Roosevelt Middle School, just outside of downtown, have drastically increased youth participation in sports. It's a remarkable story of people across the city coming together to give all children a field to call home.
Kids compare, so they see other schools thriving and growing, and they see their own school declining. We haven't had certain structural things addressed. Your baseball field is in disrepair. I mean, it doesn't look like a baseball field. I can speak for when I was in school 20 years ago. The facilities are the same, the equipment is the same. It communicates somebody doesn't care, and it says you're not going to be able to be successful.
Kids in Oklahoma City may not have food, they may not have electricity. They're trying to survive. We need to help them understand that there is something out there for them, and being a part of a team can help them see that.
If you can get those kids on teams, you know, they're going to get to school, they're going to make their grades, they're going to have less discipline problems, and they're going to have better graduation rates. Then when you look at the actual statistics, participation rates were below 30%. So we started asking, how did things get like this? invited to attend a tour of facilities in the Oklahoma City School District. One of the stops on the tour that day was Jefferson Middle School.
I remember Tim and some of the people in the group asking me, well, where's their ball field? And I said, well, you're standing on it.
You look down and there's cracked earth and there's rocks, there's glass, there's limbs, and you're going, this is not suitable. This is not acceptable. I mean, why can't the schools or the district come in here and fix these fields up? We had an opportunity to go meet with the superintendent, and his point was basically, I'm choosing between hiring teachers and putting computers or putting athletic fields. I'm doing all we can. And I felt that I think we can kind of come in here and just get things started for them. That's the genesis of Fields and Futures.
A couple years ago, this is only more than a dirt field out here in weeds, and I'd see 16, 17 kids across the field. This year we had 125. When you're fielding a team of 15, 16 students for a football team, coaches are going to have a good effect on those kids. But when you can reach 125 or 150 kids, it affects the community as a whole.
Soon after Jefferson was built, for the first time they were able to host a home soccer game, and I pulled into the parking lot and there were people everywhere.
These kids haven't had fans at their home field in decades. The community comes back into these schools and starts supporting these schools again. That's what really launched us, is we got all the very positive inputs and thought, we can do this. We knocked out the one, so it leaves us around 40 to go.
When you come here as a student and you see this nice field, this nice facility, they'll look at their education as, well, I'm supposed to have the best education now.
I think kids really felt that, like, oh, people really want us to, like, do our best.
I had the resources and the ability to be able to mold and shape these young men.
I want to be a high school student that graduated from college and came back and giving back.
Start seeing the community. They're more excited, more supportive. And when kids are being supported, it can change lives.
We are currently over halfway. Every complex we're at, the same thing happens. Pride starts coming back in, community starts getting back involved, teams grow, participation grows.
We know that if we can get them out there participating, we can help them become people who can give back one day to the communities that they live in.
The power of sports is remarkable. If you got kids that are graduating at higher rates and having less discipline problems and have learned to work together as a team, that could be pretty impactful.
While we'll be visiting new cities each month on each episode of Power of Sports, we're proud to announce that we will continue to follow the progress of Fields and Futures through its completion, showcasing the impact that new fields have on this community. We'll be back right after this.
Take a look at OKC now, and everything you see is OKC new. It's new sights, new sounds, it's new inspirations, and new sensations. It's where modern originals meet cutting-edge cool. That's OKC new. Go to visitokc.com to find out what's new. Hint, it's everything. Because around here, it isn't just new, it's OKC new.
There are 5.5 million jobs open in America. It's time to get to work. Express Employment Professionals is ready to help you find a job. Open a door to your next opportunity with Express. It's time for work, America. Apply at expresspros.com.
This is not about baseball. It's dedication. It's commitment. It's about developing a mindset in our youth. A mindset that transforms into true character. Disadvantaged, distressed, new fields envisioned as new opportunities. Instructors teaching life. Lessons learned. This is not about baseball.
The Police Athletic League is not unique to Oklahoma City. Over 300 chapters nationwide work to prevent juvenile crime and violence with educational and recreational activities. In Oklahoma City, one of PAL's biggest missions is connecting members of the Oklahoma City Police Department with the city's youth by building and cultivating that relationship from a very young age. And sports is a big part of accomplishing that goal.
I was brought up in a single-family home. My mom raised me. And I would have loved for someone to have come out and talk to me in the 6th grade and to motivate me and to try to inspire me and to be there for me. I just wanted them to know that someone's got their back. You got some shake and bake? My name is Lieutenant Jermaine Johnson with the Oklahoma City Police Department. I'm currently assigned to the Police Athletic League.
My name is Sergeant Dawn Murray. I am a police officer here in the city, and I come into the elementary schools. Grades are important. You can't play in middle school if you don't make the grade. You don't deserve to play if you don't make good grades.
We started to go directly to the kids. We put our officers in schools. Those officers are in those schools every day, every week of the entire school year. And so they're there really focusing on building long-term relationships with our kids.
We recruit officers for the PAL program that really are good at engaging with the youth and want to be there with the youth and have the heart for it.
Hey, I appreciate the hustle so far, guys. Go!
I don't want you running with your hands together like this. You need to run to the ball and then get down.
We are not always portrayed in the most positive light in the inner city. So what you have now, you have plainclothes officers going into schools and participating with kids in a non-police role. So these kids are actually getting to understand, getting to see that these police officers are just regular people like they are.
You've got to show me one sport first. What are you talking about 3 sports?
If something's going on in the neighborhood they want to tell me about, or something's going on at home, they feel like they can tell me because we've become close.
We have many teachers and principals in our community who will call our officers like Dawn before they call home.
And for them to trust us and for them to know that we're there for them as young as elementary school is also building the trust with the parents.
I want to be in the NFL.
So my favorite class is reading, and I want to be in the NFL.
My favorite class is English. No one playing me.
Everybody that said they were going to be a pro athlete, we're going to ask you in the middle of the season, if that doesn't happen to work out, what else do you want to be? And I want you guys to come up with something.
It is establishing relationships that I think will carry on for years and years to come. Because now, whenever their friends are talking negatively about the police, they can actually say, well, in my experience in dealing with police officers, I knew Lieutenant Johnson, and he was a great guy.
To have somebody like that giving them positive messages and being a role model is incredible. Those kids are going to remember Jermaine for the rest of their life.
We're going to get better as athletes, and we're going to get better as people.
Well, I talk to them a lot about good sportsmanship, good attitudes in school, being a good student. Responsibility, girls, all right? We can have all the fun in the world, but if you guys can't make your grades and you don't know how to be responsible, you don't need to play, okay?
What I've noticed about mentoring kids is that if they truly think that you care for them, you can get them to do anything. One of the reasons that kids join gangs are because they believe that those gang members have their best interests and they care for them. So somebody's going to mentor those kids, whether it's me or whether it's a gang member in the neighborhood. I've been in investigations, I've been in the gang unit, I've been an undercover police officer. And these kids, my heart just keeps calling me back to them.
The long-term goal of the Police Athletic League in Oklahoma City is instituting the program in every elementary school in the school district. When we come back, we'll shine the social spotlight on what's happening across the country.
Welcome to Power of Sports. I'm Dan Towers, CEO of Group 1001. Along with our Delaware Life team, we're excited to help share stories of people and organizations who are using sports to connect communities and create opportunities for kids to join teams and benefit from the life lessons learned on the field, court, and track. The power of sports to transform lives is real. I see it all across our great country. Thanks to all who give so much for so many.
Every week on The Power of Sports presented by Delaware Life, we highlight how sports is orchestrating amazing works all across the country. We call it our social spotlight. Let's head to Power of Sports headquarters and Dwayne Taylor for more.
Thanks, Rick. Hurricane Harvey has prompted some amazing support from across the world of sports. Houston Texans star J.J. Watt started his efforts on Twitter with the goal of raising $200,000, but surpassed that number within just 2 hours. He's now eclipsed the $14 million mark, and the numbers continue to rise due to the help of the community. Now, you can still help push that number even higher at youcaring.com/JJWatt. Now, if you're looking for a football team to support outside of your alma mater this fall, we've got a recommendation. The Werfel Trophy, known as college football's premier award for community service, announced its 109 finalists for the annual honor, and one team led the way in candidates. I'm not going to make you take 120 guesses to figure out who it was, but the Texas State Bobcats, a team that's just playing its 6th season in the FBS, leads the way with 5 players on the list. The next closest team is Notre Dame with 3. What do you get when you combine the most famous racetrack in the world, golf, and promotion of women to pursue technology careers? The Indy Women in Tech LPGA Championship presented by Guggenheim. The 3-day event, with a $2 million purse, will donate proceeds from the event to the Indy Women in Tech Foundation. And the entire event week is dedicated to events to expose youth to tech careers. We'll have full coverage of that event in November right here on Power of Sports. I'm Dwayne Taylor. Let's throw it back to Rick Horrow in Oklahoma City.
Thanks, Dwayne. Well, that's it for Power of Sports this week. Join us again next month when we head to Miami, Fort Lauderdale, including a visit with the Iron Man, Cal Ripken Jr., about his work revitalizing ballparks in the area. For our Power of Sports crew, I'm Rick Horrow. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time on The Power of Sports, presented by Delaware Life.